one of the big reasons why it unlocked like that was because of the benefit you get when you wear headphones. It's silent cinema. There's no noise pollution. It's almost eerie. You see 100 people sitting quietly watching the same screen, and then all of a sudden they laugh all together. But it's just so quiet. They loved it. And we're like, okay, let's expand. We've got the movies down. Can we go after the fireworks? And can we go after light projections? And so Jason says, hey, you know the biggest light projection festival in the world, Vivid Sydney, right? They light up the Sydney Opera House, and it's these beautiful patterns. Pitched them. We've been waiting for this. And next thing you know,
we want it for this year, June. Because we're the people that sync everything, sync audio, we had to be on the top of the stack. In other words, we were going to synchronize all their lights, projections, and the audio, which means, and they said, Vivid Sydney never goes dark, okay? Like if you go dark,
no pressure.
That's big issue.
But it sounds simple, right? Just transmit the sound file to all the mobile phones, and then you have it. Why need a startup to?
That's what we thought too. We were like, this should be easy. 2 weeks with a couple of coders. And we'll just solve our own problem. And we use it for our own film. We can travel around the world with it and do tours. And so we thought, okay, we'll just hire some tech company here in Singapore first, we'll try that and see how they go. And then failure after failure after failure, some pretty big companies failed. And we were throwing, by that stage, like 6 months into it, tens of thousands of dollars at these tech companies. And we're like, what's the big deal? Download the file, make them sync. You know what time you started, you know what time it is on your phone, make them sync. And a lot of them thought they could do it, but fail, doesn't sync, or syncs 10% of the time and then goes out of sync. And we're like, what's the big deal? And then we realized something when eventually we found our, really genius developers. They said, well, we want to try, but we don't think it's possible.
We were really lucky. Actually, because of COVID and getting locked down like that, we didn't get out to market right away. So we actually were forced to beta test and until it was good enough. So it was really a blessing. And then in addition, here in Singapore, you couldn't assemble more than, I think it was 30, and they were in classrooms. They had to be 2 meters away. That really gave us the opportunity to break a lot of phones in terms of it not working, and then us going back to the team. How do we get this? How do we get this? Where you hear that, go to market it just as early as possible. But I think if we had done that as an event company with something as critical as your audio, as your experience, we would have had a different story.
But most of like you said, you were up to your last time. Your merch money went into that test.
Yeah.
But then you entered COVID, right? That was easily like 2 years plus of testing, right?
So I'll tell you how do we get the money? So we showed a friend of ours who was in the travel industry, and she looked at it and we just said, hey, what do you think of this idea? You look at startups all the time. What do you think? And she looked at it and went, do you want to raise some seed funding? We're like, what's seed funding? Like we had no idea about the tech scene, and we're like a couple of actors, couple of clowns, we call ourselves. Yeah. What's that? Oh, start a company about this? She said, I think this has legs. Like, do you want to, I can shop it to a few of my friends. And then before we knew it, we were standing at one of her conferences in the hallways, and she would send her friends out who are all kind of C-suite people in the travel industry, either hotels or other tech apps. And then we found some really generous early stage sort of investors who were really kind of, they just liked us, and they said, take a little bit of money, go off and try and do that. And they've pretty much stayed, out of the picture, just let us do our thing. And so we raised, and we just managed to get the last check before shutdown, which was very lucky. Yeah, so we got the check in the bank. We were shut down, and then we were able to then go, okay, we're going to spend this. We didn't know how long it was going to go, but we're going to keep going down this track because, it's working now. How do we get this? We didn't know it would take 2 years to get a stable product. That was painful, but
How much did you raise actually?
$500,000 at that stage. That was our first round. Yeah.
And how much equity did you kind of put up for that?
That was only, I think, 16%.
Okay. How do you come to... I mean, you guys were like so out of this thing, right? So like, how did you come to this? Okay, I'm gonna put 16%. You're gonna give me $500,000. You know, like how do you decide on this?
I even remember the second time we raised, we ended up raising another $1 million, I think, as basically seed as well. We still call it seed because we didn't want anyone sort of really running the company. We didn't want anyone on the board. We wanted to keep, so we still hold like 75% or something like that.
We weren't going to go down the VC route, at least at that stage.
And then another one of our investors sat us down and said, you want to raise again? You know what? She was very, very generous. And she'd always say, guys, you got a tech startup. Just tell a story. Raise whatever you want to raise. Just tell a story and just you tell them the price. Because it's up to you. All of this stuff at this early stage as seed, and yours is really tech, it's not, bricks and mortar. They said, it's just based on your story and your vision. That's all. Sell the story and go and raise whatever you want.
That's the least of your concern, right? But you guys are storytellers for your lives.
It was so true because that became so useful. And so when you look back and connect the dots, it's like, it's storytelling that makes the difference. Is that, they always say, right? Learn how to tell story. And I think people reacted to the story. We would come in, we would introduce what we're trying to do, and then we would say, I think I remember one person said, how do you value it? How did you come to the value? And we went, well, when was the last time large scale synchronized audio ever got reinvented? Radio? And then? No, that's what we've just reinvented. And then we were like, okay, I'm in.
I'm in. Yeah. Let's talk a little bit about the business elements, right? So, okay, you raised your first round. Great. Storytelling got you the money. But at the point in time, the tech was developed by someone else, right? And that's like the riskiest shit in a startup, a tech startup. Like, I want to be able to internalize, your technological capability into the business. I'm sure you've heard some
We've heard everyone say that.
Say that, right? So like what happened? What do you do and all that?
It was a chance meeting with another sort of a tech consultant, a startup consultant.
Well, no,
right?
she wrote a book called Girls in Tech, and she had at the time had done a stint in Singapore with a startup, but now she's back in Silicon Valley. And I was just asking everyone, do you know anybody in the tech scene? And I had done a lot of voiceovers, and this voiceover technician just says, hey, I'm doing the audiobook for this founder of this book, Girls in Tech. Why don't you go and meet her? And so when we went in to meet her, we just had so many questions. One was like, how do you protect the IP if you have them develop? It's like, okay, get a good lawyer, get a good contract. And then you know what? If you find a good offshore development company, it's so bloody hard to do a startup. They're not going to take your idea and go and do the startup. That's for you foolish startup founders. They're just going to, they'll create something for pay and then move on and just keep doing that. And what's good is that you can hold them to it, because if they start to not do such a great job, you find another vendor, right? So they're in it for the long game. They would just want to service you really well and just make sure that you're taken care of and you go on this journey together. And sure enough, the reference she gave us turned out to be just gold. Amazing.
So she, referred us to this company, and they have been amazing for us. We had our doubts at the beginning as well. It's like, is this team going to be great? Like, we asked all those questions to the CTO, the founder of the company, and he said, we have no interest in creating a startup. Whole other ball game. If you guys want to do that, good for you. And we want to support as much as possible. We have hundreds of people coding in Eastern Europe, all over the place, actually. They have an office in US, but all over the world now. And then things got smoother and smoother all along the way. People have come and go in the team. We've not had to manage the staff at all. And our key people have stayed because they're wonderful and they love the project. But other people around them have left or been replaced. And we've never had to, we just pay the same thing every month. And we're very happy because they just get the job done and they can use resources in a massive company.
It runs counter to the narrative, like,
Yeah.
okay.
And we're non-technical. So we had toyed with the idea, okay, we need a CTO, bring him on. And then it was a negotiation of like, okay, how much equity?
CTOs want an arm and a leg.
And they'll hold you hostage. So we were lucky enough to be told, don't go that direction.
Great. Okay, so you built the product, without internalizing the team, and then you've kind of raised some money to get to the level where you feel like, okay, this kind of works, right? Yeah. So what then happened, right? Like first client or first hire, like how did that look like?
Well, first we got out of pandemic and nobody wanted to talk to us. Like all the event companies said, no, this is stupid. People have tried this before. So we realized one thing was true. This has never been done before. Well, I guess we're going to have to test it by doing our own events, like putting up a cinema. And so we went out, and a couple of clowns never say no. So we went out, where are we going to do the cinema? We happened on this place called Marina at Keppel Bay. Got the boss down. We sat him down in a seat, put on these headphones, and just try this experience. He sat down and he started watching. And then all of us, his staff and me and Christian, were standing there for 20 minutes. He didn't get up for 20 minutes. And we're like, what's he doing? He's not going to watch the whole film, right? None of his staff wanted to disturb him. Finally, he got up and he said, that was magical. We've got to do this. Guys, let them do it. Whatever they want to do, let's do it. Tell me again how you brought in the screen.
Thank you for bringing. Where's the lorry that you used to bring in the screen?
We said, it's not a screen. It's your wall. We just projected on a white wall. And that's when we discovered too, we're like, people don't know. Like, this is a hack. Like just we had a projector out of our backpack.
How long did it take you to set up? He asked. We said 10 minutes.
10 minutes. And everyone told us, you're dead in the water. No one in Singapore is going to pay you to go to a cinema outdoors. So we charged $35 a ticket. We were sold out for 3 months. And immediately by about the end of the first month, Klook called us and said, hey, can we introduce you guys to Marina Bay Sands? They're very interested in your cinema.
Yeah, out of the gates, it was an interesting journey because it's like they always say, build for your customers. Don't build because you want it. Although we turned that upside down. We built because we wanted it. Yeah. But we also not only say, well, they're not willing to pay for it, but we had to analyze why, like just why? Because we had these meetings internationally on the video calls, and they're just saying, this is a game changer. This is a revolutionize everything. They'd say one thing, but then they just never bought. And we're like, maybe they're just too scared or something, but we know this will work. So would you pay for it? Yeah, let's start a cinema. Let's go direct to the customer and delight them and show. And all the techniques we used for testimonials, for did you like the experience? Was it good to use headphones? Everything. We did the same thing, which is just a small camera. They go, could you please give us a testimonial? What did you like about the experience? Just say it to the camera. Press record, and we leave. We don't even stand behind the camera so we can just get the most honest testimonial. And they just kept saying, that was better than the cinema. That was just, I could hear everything. That was amazing. It was magical. So we just kept building the use case. Like this is something special because we had a huge hill to prove that something that's never been really done before would work. But we just knew that we just had to believe, right? We had to believe strong enough that we would pay for it and keep going down this unscalable route of doing events to prove that the technology worked.
So you didn't intend to run an outdoor cinema. You just intended to develop your patented technology. And it was just a whole big social proving experiment to show people that your technology worked. And so I wouldn't say you have no choice, but the natural choice for you was to do outdoor screening of your movie to show people that it worked.
Yeah.
I was just curious, how do you decide on pricing and charging people $35?
Oh, by the way, Marina Bay Sands was 45, so 48, and 1,000 sold in a day. So that proved something to us as well, that when you sell the experience, nobody cares, about everything else. They didn't even care about the film they were watching. They just had to book a ticket. They looked at that photo and I want that. And people are coming and say, oh, thank you for booking this. The film is awesome. You know, Little Women is beautiful. I don't even know what I'm coming for, but I saw the photo. I had to book it. Like, it's so cool. People just wanted to take photos, be up there, you know, and the idea was cool. Like, we're going to watch a movie in the sky, movies in the sky. So
no one wants to be stuck in a room with
anymore.
Like smelly carpets.
Yeah.
Anymore.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, I think we benefited obviously from post-COVID, you know, events. But I have to tell you this as an aside because, you know, I think everyone always tells the good parts of the stories, but there were rough times. Like when we were setting up, we didn't know a lot about what we were doing. We would just hack our way through things. It's like, where do we put the projector? Normally people put it on a truss behind the audience, throw really far. And we're like, doesn't make sense to us because we said we'd have to get 20,000 lumen to throw that far. And we can't afford that. But we were the first ones to do an event in the Sky Park.
Because movie screening, yeah.
So a lot of people said, what gives them the right to be there? And we're like, well, because they wanted the silent cinema thing. They didn't want to disturb the bar up the top, and they didn't want to disturb the rooms downstairs. And they said, it's so windy up here. If we use speakers, it just gets carried away. We had to deal with a lot of hate at the beginning, and a lot of, if we did have meetings with event companies, some pretty big ones, I won't name any. But the interesting thing was, by the end of that year, we were doing mostly B2C, running our own cinema, and that was not easy. Like had to staff up, get all these freelancers, do payroll, and manage all these people.
It was just you two full-timers, right? At that point in time,
and we weren't paying ourselves because we were running out of money. By the way,
it's the same. Yes, it's the same.
So we were still running off an oily rag from the merch, and we were like, this doesn't make sense. But we were getting some traction, like some notice, Klook was really interested in partnering with us. And there were other corporate companies would say, hey, can we book out the whole night? Yeah, great. By the end of the year, I don't know how this was possible, but we counted, like by the end of the year, we had done close to 300 screenings by the end of the first year. I don't know how that was possible, but there were some nights we had 3 screenings going at the same time. So we had those 2 and a corporate screening somewhere else. And we had no idea about logistics, and we were calling trucks and having to do all the manpower ourselves. But people responded to it. They liked it. They said, no, this is really good. We'll hire you again. And we're having all these repeat clients and, very many corporate bookings. It was a real strain that year. But it kept us alive that first year. And we went, there's something in this. So we saw that businesses wanted this. No one in the event company business, we realized, wanted it because, and then we understood why, because they make money on their gear rental and their manpower. Of course they want to truss, and of course they want to rent out the big guns because it takes 6 people to lift that projector up onto the truss, and then they rent all that out and they do all the safety, paperwork and everything, and that costs money. And very good, and there are regulations around that, but no one wants to go and tell you that you can just put a $1,000 projector up the front and project a really big image, because you can't charge for that. But for us, it was really powerful because we could do that. We've graduated to a slightly more expensive projector, but
somewhere in the middle.
Yeah, somewhere in the middle. But something that one person can just hold and bring out to a little trolley. We made little trolleys, for them. And so we're looking a little more professional now and a little more slick. And we really kind of systematized everything so that now it can kind of run on its own. That's been kind of an interesting journey and really fun for us as well. But it's not what we started out thinking we would do. So now that is a big part of our business. That's the bread and butter. It's what keeps us alive now, that events company business. But what it did was then open up the doors to a lot of other opportunities, because as we got in there and people, like by the 3rd year, it wasn't businesses calling us, it was government calling us. And so we started to get government contracts to do ongoing screenings in certain areas like Youth Park, Somerset Belt, Enabling Village.
I just want to mention one of the big reasons why it unlocked like that was because of the benefit you get when you wear headphones. It's silent cinema. There's no noise pollution. It's almost eerie. You see 100 people sitting quietly watching the same screen, and then all of a sudden they laugh all together. But it's just so quiet. They loved it. They not only loved it, they were coming in droves, right? And then Sky Park, same thing. It's because this technology we built unlocks an experience that, we're still trying to count. Is it no noise pollution, or is it just that you have such intimate audio that transports you? I mean, it's all of the above, but that's where we're really onto something, and we have to keep proving its use case. So we went from filmmaking and said, well, could it be anything, any large display? So when we had to write the patents when we were in lockdown, hardest thing to do. Well, I'd rather, write a full-length feature script in Japanese than to write that technical patent. But, we did, and I'm glad we did that. But what is it that I want to say? So we had to write down synchronizes to large display. And it's like, okay, well, what else is there? Fireworks, light shows. And we're like, okay, let's expand. We've got the movies down. Can we go after the fireworks? And can we go after light projections? And so Jason says, hey, the biggest light projection festival in the world, Vivid Sydney, right? They light up the Sydney Opera House, and it's these beautiful patterns. Well, they have a speaker, and it's right next to, it's like one speaker mono, but you can't see the projections because you're right there by the Opera House. The best place is across the water or on a water taxi. Pitched them. We've been waiting for this, and next thing you know, we were
way too early because that was the first year. We just got out of the gates. We were just doing these movie screenings in the parks. We still had technical issues, but they said, we want it for this year, June. Whoa, okay. And that year, because we're the people that sync everything, sync audio, we had to be on the top of the stack. In other words, we were going to synchronize all their lights, projections, and the audio, because there was no other way at that point that we could just be on the side, just synchronizing audio. They said, no, then we have to put you at the top, which means, and they said, Vivid Sydney never goes dark, okay? Like if you go dark,
no pressure.
That's big issue, right? The Opera House the minute we start, it goes and it keeps going. And we're like, oh crap. So we were really, really stressed that first year doing it, but all went without many issues. Most of the issues were on their side, like integrating, but we were quite lucky to do that. And then we ended up doing that for 3 years. But we learned a lot from that as well. Like, this massive light festival. But something that we feel that we should do more with this is that once you have immersive audio and you're standing away from the Opera House, it's really quite impressive. But then we should take people on a journey. Why can't our filmmaking now be on canvases all over the city, all over? Can we bring people on a journey through the city as they're looking at these huge projections? That's where we wanted to move from then. We got busy, of course, for the 3 years. And then, in the final year, we're like, we were there. We saw them project on the Sydney Opera House. It was the same as projecting on a white wall. It's just a bigger projector and further. All that technically is very doable. Now, what are we going to project on new surfaces? And so we started pitching people. We were at Botanic Gardens and we said to them, these movies that we're doing here, it's nice. But can we project on the trees? Can we make the trees talk? Just tell a story for 20 minutes about the Botanic Gardens. And they went, okay, can you do this in 2 weeks? I got some budget. 2 weeks? Yeah.
That's a leftover budget.
Yeah. Let me just give you one little side.
Always useful.
Yes.
Side information, because this is great where we're going into right now. We talked about the verticals. Oh, fireworks, drones, and it syncs beautifully. Fireworks has beautiful music. Drones, beautiful music. Everything synchronized. We have done several of them, and then we said, okay, there's just two of us. Are you going to handle those? I'll handle those. We'll split up and we'll try and attack all these different verticals. We just let's put it through the good old, would you pay to do it?
Nope.
So back to the story.
This should be at a Singapore Writers Festival.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? Right? It's like, every corner can have so many stories. But
Yes.
Absolutely.
yeah, but and just on that note, leftover budgets are the ones that go for the craziest ideas because there's no more KPIs to hit. Right? So that's the most fun part. As much as it's crazy, lah. Usually it's like 2-3 weeks you gotta get that shit. But
In other
that's
words,
the fun ones.
just say yes,
Yes,
right?
yes.
Go pitch crazy ideas, end of year,
Yeah.
leftover budgets, and then if they give you a timeline, just say yes, and then deal with it.
Yeah.
Like it was a crazy time, last year to do that first one, which is Voices of the Gardens, I think.
Yeah.
And we had never done it before, so we had to deal with technical crap, like the software side, trying to synchronize various different laptops as well. But we got through it, and each time we learned so much, right? And we'd rather do that than do the day-to-day. Why don't we just market this to people doing silent movies around the world? That would kill me. Why don't we market this to, basically doing what any SaaS founder should do, which is I should spend all our time, right? We should spend all our time marketing to just get growth, right? But we can't. We're just not built like that. So
We're a couple clowns.
we're a couple of clowns. So and what we realize is if we keep just leading the way and then pivoting, and because every time we try to market, we just get these objections. Oh no, people don't want to download an app. No, it's too hard. It's like, why? What if people don't have headphones? What if I don't know how to educate people to bring headphones and their own phone? Read the website. If you want it, you can go use it. If you don't, it's okay, because obviously it's not painful enough for you to solve. What it solved for us was remarkable. We can just tell our stories that we ended up doing, we now have surpassed 1,000 screenings, right, in a few years. And I don't know when we did those screenings or how we managed to do them, but we keep getting calls. We've never advertised. We didn't even update our website for 3 years. I was like, I don't know how they get. It's all word of mouth. People just call and, hey, you're Cinewav, right? Can you do a movie screening here? We've got a community center here. I was like, yeah. And at one stage, we had one of our freelancers just take the calls, and we said, you don't even need to sell them. She said, I don't. I just respond. I just said, this is the price. This is how much it is. What's the date? Which movie do you want? And that's all she did. She was just responding, and I went, that's great though, right? We have to remember that. That is great that when you do build something of value, and that is the value, we realize that, and we talk about this all the time, it's like we mustn't forget that the value is that we created a little system of movie chairs, really comfortable chairs, the logistics behind it, so that we go in under an hour, we're all set up. It has beautiful chairs. We have little candles down there, really simple, but much more elegant than what other people give, obviously. It feels premium. People feel like, oh, this is an event. Wow, the screen is 6 meters high, blah, blah, blah. But we created that, and that works really, really well. People don't want to change it. I just want that. And they keep ordering that, and we're just doing this repeat business everywhere. We're like, yeah, when you build a nice system, it works, and it can keep you alive. But don't forget sometimes that when you're a SaaS, what you want to sell might not be what they want. And sometimes accidentally you'll build something which is what they want. Some of it is not SaaS. Some of it's this beautiful little business on the side where we're now employing, freelancers who are very happy because, we pay them well enough. We're now employing a logistics company, very happy as well. We're starting to partner with them together and share storage and all this. And then you got this little ecosystem that just is a nice flywheel, but it took, rejections to get to something that works for us. And now that's building out because a lot of our clients are coming to us and say, hey, we want a movie in our precinct.
Can I segue this into Reggie? Because he's an alumni to TJC.
Yeah.
As you know, one of the oldest polytechnics was going to be torn down. And they said, we need a last hurrah. The faculty, the staff, it's going to be 2,500 people out on our field. We want to do a movie. But, how do you do the audio? Oh, well, we can easily scale up to 10,000 people. We'll do that. And once again, Jason's like, but what is it that you really want to do? Well, we want to bid our school farewell. So, okay, you can show a movie. But at that time, we were like, oh, we want to do light projections. How would you like your mascot to give a farewell speech on the facade of your school that's going to be torn down? And they're all, We love that. We don't really have a mascot, but 'cause we have an unofficial one. His name's Shroomy. Do you remember Shroomy?
Okay.
Because your buildings look like mushrooms. And well, there's various sketches. We said, we've never done this before. We never animated a mushroom. And we just said, yes, Anne, we're going to have Shroomy give your school a farewell speech and sing the school song as all the students, watch him on the projected huge on the facade of the school. And they're like, you can do that? And we're just, yes, Anne. And it was magical. We showed the movie Up, so they're all feeling emotional. And right at the very end, we did the school anthem. Screens went down. Shroomy went up and they were just screaming. We have video of this. I'll send it to you since I know you're alumni. They're screaming for Shroomy. And Shroomy just gives this heartfelt speech, sings the school song, says farewell. And oh my God, everyone's moved. And once again, back to the vision. How do we move people? And here we just like, oh my God, these dots are connecting. This technology we build with your mobile apps and headphones are moving these students and the faculty for some special shared community experience on saying farewell to their school.
In other words, just because you have headphones on doesn't mean it's not a shared experience, and it isn't more immersive, actually. And so, yeah, if you see the video, you can hear them screaming, clapping.
To see the
but
video.
Everyone's with their headphones on. And the great thing is all the HDBs around, they don't hear anything.
Why wasn't I invited? No, maybe I wasn't aware. I wasn't aware of it. Oh my!
The grand
goodness.
opening, I'll make sure you're there.
Yes,
because Shroomy's gonna come back.
Yeah. I'll be there, and
Shroomy number 2.
Some of the alumni groups were like, "You should come back and talk." Okay, maybe.
Yeah.
At the event, I'll be there.
Yeah. So once you have
goodness.
a video like that, then Victoria says, "Hey, can you make Le Bear? Can you make Le Bear?"
No competition there.
Yeah,
right?
no competition.
Yeah.
Okay, great. So then there's the cinema business, and then there's this like technology thing that you have that you try to bring to life different other experiences. Pardon me for being like practical and shit, right? Like, how do you actually charge for those things, right? What is the business model? So one is like B2C ticket, right? And then the other part, like, how does this business look like?
That's really tough because we didn't know how to charge for a SaaS, right?
I think you didn't know many things when you started.
No, we don't know anything. And I don't think we've really hit on it yet. Like, how do we charge someone? So we have clients in Africa. Remarkably, in Namibia, Ghana, South Africa, so we have people who use us in little settings like mom and pop shops, using us to solve the audio problem sometimes. And we're like, how do we charge someone in Namibia? And we're being charged pounds for each title, right, by the film licensing company. We're like, I can't solve that. And that's why they've never licensed to people in the very, very underserved countries. But I remember having a phone call or a video call with one of the general managers of the largest cinema chain in South Africa. Someone introduced us. And we were on this video call and she said, guys, I think you've really solved a major issue. We don't reach the masses. As a cinema chain, we don't reach the masses. I went, that's a bit weird. What do you mean you don't reach the masses? And she said, do you know how many people have been to the cinema in South Africa? About 2 million. Do you know how many people live in South Africa? 65 million. I went, I feel so dumb. I never thought of Africa. China thinks of Africa. They're very clever. We don't think of Africa. It's just not on our radar, especially Western education. It's just not on our radar at all. You never think about that sort of scale. And she says this sort of thing would scale the cinema business so much because your cinema hall costs you $2,000. Our cinema hall costs us $1 million. We're like, yeah, that's what we had in our pitch deck, but we haven't we haven't got there yet. But that was really powerful. So we know that we're onto something, but how do we charge these people? How do we charge people who can barely afford a truck, right? They want to start businesses versus the Australian Tourism Board who does Vivid Sydney. And they paid very fairly, really, nicely for us. And we're like, how do we reconcile that? Because it's the same service, but one person is very happy to pay well, and the other person can barely get by. So we're still working that out, but we're working it out on a case-by-case basis so that people in India, for example, we had someone in India says, I want to open a cafe with my girlfriend, and we're going to have movie screenings. His cafe seats 8 people. But he says, I want to have, and the street is right there, but I want to have movie screenings here on the wall. I'm a short filmmaker, and my friends are filmmakers. And I went, just use it. You know, how do I charge them? How do I get, traction and revenue? I don't know, but just use it. Someone else in Australia, again, like I'm starting a cinema. I have 20 people at the moment. I'm doing this on a big white wall. And I was like, does $20 sound okay? $20 a screening? Yeah. Okay. So we're working it out. Like some people we think can afford it, but at the same time, we don't want to be unfair. So it's like, I don't want to charge you ridiculous amounts, but some fireworks shows, we've got to scale and we've got to do it, and we've got to support, 24/7. So very, very different kind of model for that. And we don't quite know yet. And we're so busy reacting to the events that come in that we don't have time to think about it, which is probably a good thing, because when we do think about it, it just gets us in a spiral. And so, I don't know. And the reality is, I don't want to sit down. Neither of us wants to sit down and do the marketing and the sales pitch and the decks and the videos to market to the people out there who are doing screenings around the world. We just wait for them to call us, and then we come up with a number that makes sense for them. I don't know if this is good business advice at all, but what has worked for us is that things just keep coming, and we're just reacting to the business that comes from Singapore. And what we do is, when we lead the way, then all these clients that we do have around the world, they go, can we do projections on trees with your stuff? Like, we're like,
well, that's back to, would you pay for it? Yeah. So when we started to really go after these bigger projects that we would absolutely pay for, we would, but then they would pay us handsomely to do some really cutting edge, work, creative work, getting back to our filmmaking roots, using our technology. We always make sure it's got to showcase the technology. And of course we document it, because we know one day someone's going to see that internationally and just go, no, how are they doing that? We want that. So that's the stage we're in now, is we're just once again building the use case of what we really love to do.
And I think it would have been, we would have sort of short-changed ourselves if early on we would have said, okay, we're SaaS. And by the way, I remember one of our angels did say to us, you're SaaS, so you should just sit down and just go off. Movie screening is working. You should go and market that to the whole world and spend all your time doing PR, marketing, sales, so that scales. I mean, you do that one thing, but we didn't really see the stickiness. No one was really signing up to use our technology. Our business in Singapore was sticky, but that involved many components, right? So we recognized that, and we said, I don't think we've got the stickiness yet. So we kept going and experimenting here. And now what we're seeing is, I think the big opportunity really is to create site-specific, large-scale content that is immersive, right? So everyone does immersive, so to speak, with, big projections, but not many people are telling long-form stories with that, by and large, because they haven't had audio delivery to everybody. And now we can do synchronized audio across the board, thousands of people at once. Everyone can have their own language. Everyone could have different levels if we wanted to. So we just pitched a project this week that said we could have the kids level version seeing the same images, teenager and grown-up version, or the very scientific version if you want. They can all be seeing the same images as, you're hearing this different audio, and it can be in different languages at the same time, but it's synchronized. And that's the beauty, is that I could watch something at a tourism site and be listening in my own language. And that is, we can see that is an issue at most tourist sites.
It is.
I really don't think it's fair to compare to label yourselves as SaaS founders. You have a SaaS.
No. Yeah.
SaaS,
but I think you're in the business of democratizing experience.
I hate that word, democratizing.
No, but it is true. It is true. because mobile phones democratize a lot of things.
Yes.
Isn't it? Right? And you are building on that device that democratize a lot of access. You're leveraging it to give a lot of people even more access to immersive experience using your SaaS, and that is your business model, not your SaaS. You know what I mean? And I think the prospects you tried to sell your SaaS are all playing down the potential of it is because they don't know how to storytell. And they don't understand the importance of it, and they cannot do it well. So they couldn't pair the two of them together. They couldn't pair the two of them together because your SaaS was made for storytelling, but they were not storytellers in the first place.
They were just rental landlords. Yeah, that's a different story. Yeah.
But Reggie, you say that you don't believe. Not believe. You are skeptic about the universe sending you things. You do your best. How could you scientifically explain that they have been running their business from one model to another model just solely based on word of mouth?
No, I think there are many other examples, through a founder journey that can have something like that, right? So
I think it's true. They say true marketing is only word of mouth. They said every other marketing is just buying customers.
Because people want it. So it kind of just grows from there, right?
And one thing about marketing is also the product itself. I think a lot of people have lost the true understanding of what marketing is, and that actually whoever you are both marketers actually. Because a true marketer is involved in product development as well. How do you expect a marketer to sell something that he or she did not build and sell it well?
Well said.
You know what I mean? But most businesses today treat it as communications, meaning to say that here's the product. I don't care whether it's good or not. You sell it. And your KPI is therefore to make me $5 million of revenue based on this product I invented, but I'm not in charge of selling it. You are. And that's the true... I don't know, call it crisis or tragedy in the marketing industry. This is disjointedness.
Yeah.
Siloed, right?
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Wait, just so I'm clear, it's still the two of you
Yes.
without any other headcount.
No. And sometimes we think it's crazy, but it's gotten easier. The remarkable thing is this year we got busier and it got easier. Not that we never want to hire people, but we always found that managing staff was harder than the work itself. We're just not good at managing staff. We maybe haven't found the best staff in the world. Like maybe there are A players out there that don't need to be managed. We felt that we didn't have the budget for those A players to bring them in. And we just always found we're still working our way out of like, what is this system? We think maybe we can soon hire someone just to manage the movie business. But the interesting thing is, the movie business isn't the movie business. It's the business of creating community. But that's a problem. So when you hire someone to just look after the movie business, that's all they'll do. They don't necessarily, you'll have to find a gem to do what I think we have to do all the time, which is go in and say, what do you really want to do? You want to create community, right? You want to bond these people socially. Okay, movies is one of the ways. And we can start with that. So some of our government contracts is exactly what we're doing. So with Youth Park, we're bringing people together. And they said, we've struggled to bring people together in this park because two major arteries, really noisy. Whenever we put on speakers, all the neighbors complain. Can you solve that for us? And I remember the first screening we did for them, it was just short films, 30 people came. And we were so disappointed. We're like, we're already doing 200 people at Marina Keppel Bay. And we're like, oh, I'm so sorry. We tried our best. Maybe people don't like short films. And they're like, no, guys, this is really good. We've never had 30 people stay for so long, for 2 hours, and ask us when was the last time, when's the next one? And they said, well, we'll keep this going. We've now grown it to 300. And all these people come, they all know how to use the app. They just come, sit down, they watch a movie and they leave. But it happens like clockwork every month.
Point. Yeah,
that's when we realize, oh, we don't even need people to help them anymore. Like, after about 3 months, 4 months, people just started coming. And what we realized that it was a good experience when in the middle of Orchard Road traffic and a bus stop, all these people stay and they laugh together and they clap at the end of the movie. For some old movies, we did Dead Poets the other night. We had 308 people. And we're like, so old. These people don't even know where the film came from. But it's really heartwarming to go, actually, we can still survive like doing these sort of things. And I think it will bring community together. But what we're building now is, how do we get interaction? Because now they're pretty much sitting with their friends and family. How do we get them to start to talk? So we're building things because they all have the app. They all have headphones. We can talk to them. We can interact with them. We can put things up now that we're building gaming into it, so that we said to our dev team, how can 100 people play a game at the same time? That's your problem. Go work on that. Because I think that's going to start to open up the fun of being together in a crowd. How do we all learn something at the same time, make it interactive? Like Kahoot, right? We're not showing movies. The SaaS kind of reduces it to something very small. We're looking at using this. We've invented this, large scale synchronized audio. What can we do with it? I think we can bring people together. How do we do that? Lots of different ways. Now we can build, different types of mechanisms within it to bring people together.
Thank you. And I'm very sure after this thing goes out, somebody will call you. There are many people that have come on the show and had business transactions.
Wow.
So I am sure someone will call you.
Well, I hope they call so we can do a screening.
We'll
hold you to that.
Yeah, let's do
it.
something. Yeah. If you want a screening together as a community, put in the comment section, okay? And then we'll organize on that. I think it's worthy. It's exciting. I don't know how many people will turn up, but let's just do it. Yeah.
We'll do it
and see what happens. Great. So if somebody wants to listen up to this point and they want to connect with you, where's the best place to connect with you?
Actually, our website, we have a WhatsApp there, and we have a...
You put your WhatsApp there?
Yeah, we have a business WhatsApp.
That's okay.
But, with most of our clients, our personal WhatsApps go out. And I think ultimately that's where a lot of people like to work with us as well. It's like we show up to the recce, we show up to the event.
Sweat the small stuff.
It's like when we did cinema and we went and checked all the halls, people said, you're crazy. Why would filmmakers go and turn up to every screening? And we went, why wouldn't you? Like, you just made this baby and you want to present it to your audience, and you don't turn up and you don't see what happens and you don't watch what the reaction is, because that's the only feedback you'll ever get, right? So we value that, and we love going to our events and standing and watching and going, what do they like about it? Like, what did we do well? What did we do wrong? It's great. Yeah.
Awesome. I don't know what else to say other than
thank you
awesome.
so much for having us. I hope we haven't just waffled on for
it's
too
great,
long.
It's great. I think it's one of the most interesting episodes in a long time. Trust me, I've been doing this day in, day out. I talk to all sorts of people. I think this is a great story. Thank you for sharing.
Thank you.
And I wish you well. Right?
Thank you so much.
Yeah. So if you enjoyed today's episode, put in your comment section, tell us if you want a screening, okay? I'm very serious about this. If you want a screening, just put in the comment section and we'll organize something. And if you love what we are doing here, go over to thefinancialcoconut.com to put your email address so that we can get in touch with you directly and route out the algorithm when we need to. Right? The algo is a nightmare. So yes, thank you all. Thank you for your time. And we'll see you in next week's episode of The Business Show. Meanwhile, take care. Bye-bye.